Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video we've got this GNER HST set from Graham Farish. This is I would say the newer of the generation of the Poole chassis that was put in these locos. It's like the 4x4. Both bogies are powered in the power car, but the dummy is a pure dummy, whereas on the earlier ones they were rear wheel driven, I guess, only. So I bought this as a spares or repairs. The condition is dusty, as most layouts, most locos that get left on a layout get. So I'll give it a dust down at some point. I'm not overly worried about that. The first thing I want to concentrate on. So you're looking there at the dummy and the coach in the middle, and then this bad boy, the power car. So I want to focus on mechanically making it sound. So this is how I got it out of the box. So actually we've got a coupling, we've got a carrier here. It might be broken. I think it might be broken just there. That's why it's not on. I think that probably happened when it was in postage, but then it might have been put on for the photo. I don't know. It's irrelevant. I can fix it, like most things. It's fine. But let's just quickly check this on the track, because they didn't really give it just said it's spares or repairs, you know. Okay, so we're at our lovely little test track. But the lovely wall I've put up, someone's only gone and graffitied it. Who's that? John was here. I know a John. I know many Johns actually, but if that was you, naughty boy, I'll be having words with you. That aside, though, the wall's a bit out of scale. Let's test the train. Oh, okay. So hang on, I'll turn that off. I'll go quarter throttle and I'll launch it into forward. Nothing. Oh, it's trying to go. Let's try backwards. That sounds pretty good, actually. It's going pretty good. I'm just going to speed it up. La 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 la. Alright, let's go forwards. Oh no. Huh. Backwards? Oh. What the heck? Right, we're going to get the shell off and have a look. I've not come across that before. Actually, I have. Right, the Class 4F I did, the motor was moving, jarring one way and blocking it, but able to move the other way. It might be a similar thing here, although how bizarre. I think we have a pickup issue as well, because that buzzing just lets me know the motor's getting power. Yeah, let's get the shell off and we'll have a little looky. Okay guys, so I'm just going to pause the video here. Basically, this video is really long, so if you like long videos, great. In short though, this train had me rumbled for quite some time. So I'm going to show you the whole video because it shows the process I went through. And I kept looking at things and looking at things, and I was just like, why isn't this working? And towards the end, it was a gear issue. And you've got to pay very close attention to the gears. That's all I'll say, so enjoy the video. Well, let's carry on with it. Let's get it apart. This must have been Bachmann's first attempt with Poole type chassis, I guess, to modify them. What I'm going to do is slide this down as much as it will go. Not a lot. That's it. It won't go anymore. Now the back here, I'm going to try and show this. At the back there, so you see that little gap? I'm just going to get it in the gap. Like that. And lift the... I don't want to pull on the bogey, otherwise it will come up my nose. It might rip off the chassis or break. That's it. So once that back one's out, you can hopefully lift that bit up there. Don't lift it up all the way, enough to slide the shell sort of like that way, and it's out. The whole thing's out then. So this is what we've got to deal with. Put the shell somewhere safe. So in this end here, you've got a flat-headed screw. That's coming out right now. Now we know we have got a pickup issue because I was having to wiggle that around to make the thing buzz. Now that's off, and so this should slide out the front like that. What I want to do is check the gears are okay, so I'll give this big cog a turn. So, what we got there? How's that feeling? Pretty good. Go back to these pickups. Now, let's just imagine. I'm going to check two things here. I reckon because these pickups are bananaed, that one's curved. Once this is in the loco and on the loco and pushed up, you've got to be careful sometimes that these don't go into the gears because they would act a bit like a ratchet, and that might stop the loco moving one way to the other. The other thing though is that when you drive a bogey it will move slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put power on this. I'll show you that now. I've got my train controller on two crocodile clips. You can basically put this one anywhere you want except on that brass strip and anything that's connected to it. And then this one has to basically be connected to the brass strip and only the brass strip connected stuff that can't touch anything else. So I'm just going to put the train controller on. So this is simulating getting power. Now I'm holding one side of the polarity here. This is not really a great way of doing it in case you want to get zapped, but I kind of think I know what I'm doing. As long as I don't bridge the brass strip and the chassis with me, it should be alright. So I'm just going to spin this up. This is one way. Sounds good. Now we'll go the other way. Sounds really good. And how bizarre is that? Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because that seems to run fine. However, the problems might not be done with here. There's a high chance that something's going on in here with the couplings. I hope that's not the case, but we'll see. I think what I'm going to do is just put the bogies back in. And what we do is, well, there's your pickup issue right there. Right, so you see, it won't be helping anyway. These here aren't meant to be like that. That's pretty tight. That one's off though. Yay. I'm only doing one side. Now, this one will keep. She's beautiful. This one can do one. You don't want to ram them on these posts and bend them. You've got to try not to bend these. That's your challenge. Right, so we've got our these, I don't know what they're called, contacts again. You see how it's springing down? That's got to go against the wheel, like in there, okay? So it's just pushing against the inner of the wheel. So I'm going to feed the first one in, like so. So we've got that. So it's over the other contact we've just put on. Now I'm going to hold this with one finger and turn it around. We're going to do exactly the same on this side. I really apologise about the camera because it's trying to focus. I think you get the gist of what I'm doing, which is hopefully good enough. You should just like go on nicely, okay? Again, the bits that are springing out face the backs of the rims. So that one will go in. I'm feeding it behind the wheel. And there we go. Now I can hold these ends and it won't go anywhere. So you just want to make sure the first ones are behind the wheel. And behind the wheel. And it is. Now I'm going to hold it in the middle. We've got our wheel. Right, so look at the wheel. Metal shaft, metal wheel. Look at the other side. Metal shaft, plastic piece, wheel. Just make sure. I mean, you don't have to, but I like to make them all on the same side as each other. It's because one side comes off the shaft and the other side is quite tight with the shaft. Okay, so that's clicked back in. I was holding those and pushing them up. Before you commit to pushing that up, just make sure you're not going to bend these little tabs behind them. So I'm pinching them so that they squeeze together, and then I can let go once it's on. Now, that's on, and I'm not going to put the... No, because I haven't got it anyway. Okay, so that's now, because this is the front, the bogie has this wedged bit here at the back actually goes facing inwards on the loco, like that. This is what I mean, look. So actually, if you've got a set, look at the set for the way things go, because these carriers are the same as on the powered one. See how these V bits go into, they both aim inwards. So, you know, the dummy does that too. Okay. I'll worry about the coupling later. I think it's just important to get it going, because if it's something more major, we'll be taking it back apart. So what looked like that might be an easy one to fix. Might not be an easy one to fix. So again, now I was just being careful with the rear bogie, with them contacts. And more or less, that is it. I'm going to put that on the track now. So let's go over to the track and we'll see how this performs. Okay, so here we are, back at the track. No more graffiti, so that's good. Putting power on, 3, 2, 1, go. Yes. And backwards. Yep. I'm going to go forwards because that's the one we're having a problem with. So this is the front end. No. Go backwards. I'm going to let it just go around and come back to me. I don't think we've got a cracked gear, so we can eliminate that. And bogies felt pretty good. Oh! Now we're going forwards. Oh, that's cool. I can hear, I don't know if you can hear it. Let's get that bloody tears. I can hear a clicking noise. Go backwards. Do you know what? I'm going to put the carrier on here and just see if that helps it. Okay, so I put the carrier back around the bogie. Oh, let's call it the bogie frame. And it's not happy. It's not happy. I'm gonna have to investigate a little bit more, I think. Because hang on. Well, that's not good. Right, okay. look at the bogie, how it goes into the train here. You see that little brass bit there? You see in front of it, it's got a crack. There's a crack just there. I've got another bogie. I'm going to change it. Oh. Right, so this video is going to be changing a bogie completely, I think. Wow. Okay, I'm just looking at these, making sure they're okay. So it was going forwards one way, absolutely fine. Backwards, not a chance. Like, it was just not loving it at all. So I'm going to swap that over, which I have got some. So if it goes forwards one way and not so great the other way, chances are you've got a snap bogie post. However, the jury's still not out. We had bent contacts, so now we have got no contact issue because I've put new ones on. I'm going to take this off, and hopefully that fixes it. Right, so I apologise in advance here because this video is going to be mega long, and it really wasn't planned that way. But things do change over time, you know. I'm going to whip this out like we did before. Shonk, off. I'm going to leave the other end. Now, the crack is there, and you'll see, if you look at these, you see this side, it looks like it's like in there a little bit. If you go to the other side, it's not in there a little bit, and it actually looks slightly bigger. Now, I'm going to push the inside a little bit with the corner of the screwdriver. Dunk. And it's ever so slightly just poking out the top. I think it's going to come out quite easily because it's snapped. I'm just going to push the rest of it the way out with tweezers. Now, that holds the gear in, and the bit I'm holding's got some splines on it. You see that? Well, there's a bigger hole and there's a smaller hole. Now you can take a photo to remember which way around this all goes and stuff, but I don't need to do that because we are actually changing that post, so that's going to be a different kettle of fish. That's the big gear out of all of them. Yes, a little bit broken. Same as before, take that off. Now the downside is here, we've got to take everything off it because what everything is on is the bit that's broken. So I'm taking the wheels off, there's that one. Now I'm going to remove all the contacts that we put on earlier. Had I not been trying to rush this and I actually looked a bit more into it, I probably would have seen that and been like, oh, better change that. And the contacts probably would have stayed the same. I did look at the other one off screen a minute ago and that looks okay. I think it's just this. Now, it kind of could cause the issues we've been having, and I think it is causing the issues we've had. Plus it's broken, so it needs changing anyway. It's quite important because when the loco will move, oddly backwards and forwards, it will be either pinching the gear or not, and it will probably be making it mesh weirdly with the worm gear. Right, so I'll get my tweezers, and there's two ways you can do this. You can push them. I'm not going to. You can push them from one way. I think these ones are slightly tight on the gear, so the shaft, the whole thing floats, whereas I think on some of the locos the gear goes round the metal. So what I'm going to do, knife blade, not the sharp side, the back side of it, I'm going to just lever it. You can use tweezers, you can use whatever you want. What I'm trying to avoid is, see, that's one side done, and I'll just lift her out. That's out. I just keep doing that. That middle gear is slightly larger than these two outer idlers. So these two outer idlers are the smallest here. You'll be quite careful with not screwing up the teeth on the gears. So if you get a slight bend in one of them, it would just run like a broken gear, more or less. It would be lumpy. So that was pretty quick, wasn't it? That's our bogey post, I think they're called. and that's our broken bit, and it's definitely broken now. So in our box of shame it shall go, and it just so happens that from BR Lines they sell bogey posts of bogies. So I got these, fit again my 20s and my 25s and probably the 33s, so I got 3 of them for that reason. So we're going to start in the middle. These should just go in, hopefully. And yes, okay, great. Sometimes these pieces that sometimes things don't necessarily fit. BR Lines have been pretty good. I think they are literally Graham Farish things. That should really be free to move, like that is free to move. So next gear we go for one of the small ones. Sometimes these holes are some can be tight, and just keep checking it how free it is to move every time you go. That's lovely. Yeah, everything should be free to move, because if it's not, you're gonna have issues. Again, free to move. Now I'm gonna put one of these in. I'm gonna rotate it as I'm putting it in. These are quite tight, but that's, wow, that feels great. Feels great, mate. And this is the point where these pickups go back on. They must have hand assembled all these at well, definitely in China, or maybe not in China, but they must have people making these by hand. I wonder how quickly they can do this. Well, they, you know, how they probably used to. I bet I'm going well slow in comparison. Or did they have a machine that could do this? I mean, is that possible? Just remember we're putting the smaller one on first. This little... I'll use my tweezers and hopefully you can see it better. That one and that one. Boom. And then... Again, this is... Don't forget, this... It doesn't spring against the... It springs against the back of the wheel, okay? That's important. Holding that, holding that, holding both. And I need to put the back bit on next to my thumb. I'm hoping you're seeing all this relatively nicely. Now before you click it in, make sure both bits are behind the wheel, which they're not. That one's just popped out, so I'm going to lift her over, there we go, and cool, in we go. Just hopefully that feels lovely and free to move, and great. Now I'm just going to offer this in, this pin. One side should feel freer than the other, I think. No. Righto, so what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this, you can just literally whack the pin in, but with me doing this, I'm going to make it so that hopefully in the future it doesn't split again. And it's gone in like that. I think that'll do, but it's not coming out, and that's what you don't want, is it coming out. Put the bogey frame back on the bogey post, like that. Does it move freely? Yes it does. And let's go putting it back in, and now I'm going to pinch the bottom like that, and then we're going to put the end back on. Put her in. Contact hasn't been squished. So we've just changed the bogey post. Oh. Okay. Screw in, not dead tight. Make sure it moves. Feels alright. And also do the old thing again where you push it down, and the contact in there should still be touching the loco. And I'll push this end down, and that bit in there should also be touching. So it'll all move around. Let's go back to the track and we'll try this one last time. I think that's just about it. Unless the motor's also having issues. Okay, so we're back, and again, the curved round side chamfered front bit, the motor brushes, that's the front end of the loco, okay? So I'm going to put power on. That's a good start. And slowly... nothing, hang on. Now, you know, they've got to be run for a little while, so... What's going on there? Oh. Can you hear it? This fine. This way's fine. We'll go the other way. Oh, how weird is that? Okay, so far we've had dodgy contacts, a bent bogey post, snapped one, and for some reason something's going click, 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 which is odd, to be honest with you. It could be inside here that the issue is in here. That could be. I'm not sure. It seemed like it was in sync with the wheels. I'm gonna have a quick look at it. We'll come back in a second. Right, so as I opened it up, I took these off, and I just want to show you this. Someone has been in here and changed gears. So look at these top gears. Now, I don't think this has an issue, whereas I think this one might. Because it seems to be like jarring one bogey now and again. I'm going to just see if I've got a thinner gear. And try that. I suppose what you could do is take the shaft out and remove that one gear. We'll try that actually and just see if it does any binding. And then we can swap the bogies around and see which end the problem's coming from. Right, so I've removed the thicker gear because to me, because I've done so many of these, I hadn't noticed it before. It looks thicker than usual, like it looked out of place. Now because it's on a worm gear and it being that wide, because the worm gear teeth are like this, that could be the issue. And basically I think I've solved it. I think that is actually what the issue is. So I'll go really slow here. It's just like one bogey drive. That's one way. That's another way. Perfect. Let's go really slow. Seems pretty happy, doesn't it? And actually as well, seems pretty happy just being like rear wheel drive. I'm going to dig a gear out. I'm sure I've got one of those and put a thinner one in. I think we've solved it. Okay, we've done it. That was the problem. So I'll move away slowly. We'll go the other way. So what it was the gear was too thick for the worm gear. So that is it. Hurrah! Now I'm not going to edit out much of this video that I've recorded, because I think it's important to show you that I don't. Sometimes I have these buckets of weirdness trains. That was somebody fixing it and putting a big gear in it. Now, right, so here's another thing. I could make this gear work. All I have to do is knife blade every single gear into a chamfered gear, and that would work. But I had this one was a 25 tooth gear. I have one kicking around, as you do, you know. If not, you can source gears from Graham Farish spares. Peter's spares, I think he does some as well. And the Bachmann website, but they're the newer locos, so you'd have to count the teeth and just to make sure that you've got the right amount of teeth. But then also the worry there with going Bachmann gears is you might end up with a thicker gear like this one. Anyway, we'll put the shell back on and I think we'll give it a run. Before I forget, when you want to put the shell together, all you do is you put the front on, so the round side here is the front, brushes to the front. Slide it like that, and then down, and then in here, that little nibby bit there has got to go into that little slot there on the shell, like that. And then once that's in, get the chassis and slide it up the body, just so you know it's seated along the back, like that. Because if you don't, what can happen is the front here can hit the shell when you go around corners, and it doesn't do it much good. Now, I haven't fully cleaned this all up and stuff, but I'll give it a dust down and then we'll just run it around the track. What I mean by cleaning it off, I mean is the gears. There's some bits of hair in there and stuff, but hey ho, when it comes to it I'll sort that out. But I've got it running properly-ish now, so I can't believe it was that gear, that little one there. Staring me out, he is. So yeah, right, to the track.
The time was given like presents, one for me and you. Blew out the candles in silence, made the wish come true. I don't know why, but it felt good just being there. Feels like home. It was something that she said. Love is in your life. Love is in your life. So much love is in your life. So much love is in your life.
Well guys, here she is in all her beauty now. I've just dusted it down. I've not cleaned it. There was a lot of dust that had settled on the roofs, so I mean, overall, it's in really good condition, and that's what drew me to it. It's hard to find one of these that's not been knocked around, really. I need to clean the windows, but got the coupling back in, got the bogey frame back on, and we got the thing running, and it runs actually really nicely. I'm going to call it a Poole type chassis because it is the same as the old school Poole type chassis in my eyes. But this one is made in China, so this is before Bachmann did their own chassis, really. I say Bachmann, Graham Farish, I won't give you the whole story on it. But anywho, lovely loco. I would love to put lights on it, but I don't, because it's so good, I don't really want to ruin it. I have got some other shells, so what I might do is practice on one of those for lights and just see how feasible it is. Like I said, I really don't want to mess them up. But yeah, well happy with these. And basically what you've just witnessed is the ordeal that I have to go through when I set myself these goals to fix a train. Now, I knew something wasn't right, and I just kept going and going and going. And it's very easy to lose your patience, I would imagine. But I do lots of annoying things all the time, so I guess I'm used to it. So I hope you liked the video. I'm hoping it kind of helps you out. I hope it didn't get you lost too much with the backwards and forwards of opening the chassis up all the time. But actually, I think a lot of you might... I'm quite familiar with the Graham Farish parts, and that gear didn't stick out like a sore thumb for me. And overall, that's what the problem was. The gear post that we the bogie post we changed that had cracked, the train actually still would have run like that, and it kind of did. The problem was the gear was too thick, so it bound itself in the worm gear when it drove one way more than the other. And again, you could definitely knife that down, but you shouldn't have to. You should just get the thin gear and just chuck that in there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. I've got a lot more Fix My Loco collection videos coming out. We have got a lot of diesels to go through. I've got myself a class 25, and I'm just trying to think actually. I think that's gears, so that'll be another gear video, so sorry if that's boring you with gears. It seems to be a Graham Farish thing. I'm sure, I mean this wasn't, technically this wasn't a cracked gear, it was a good gear. It's just it was the wrong type of gear. So just bear that in mind. Those big gears though are used on the newer HST by Bachmann. So maybe the guy was like to the shop owner or talking to his mate, what colour are the wheels? Oh, they're dark, they're like gunmetal grey. Right, that's the really new one then. We'll send you this gear. It was the wrong gear. That's just how it is. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, whatever that may be. Cheers.